Teddy Willison'la beraberiz. Onunla bu röportajı 14 Ocak 2020 tarihinde Nişantaşı'nda güzel bir mekanda Toshiko isimli restoranda yapıyoruz. Ayrıca buraya da çok teşekkürler. Sensei, we'll start with the first question.
Okay.
Yeah. The first question is, can you introduce yourself? Who are you and how many years you are here in Turkey?
Well, I'm a martial artist. I've been in martial arts for 60 years. And I've been living in Turkey for about 26 years. And I moved here from California.
California.
Yeah. And when I came here, I was first doing fitness classes.
Oh.
That was the first thing I was starting with. I had some private clients on karate and aikido, but I was teaching at the Wako gym.
Wako gym.
Yes, I was the manager there when I came here. And then from there, after I left Wako gym, I was consulting, and then I started doing my martial arts.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I was doing Kempo, Chinese karate, and Aikijitsu. I was teaching aikido and Kenjutsu. Those are my favorite things to teach, you know, arts to teach. And it just began from there, here in Istanbul. I mean, I've been teaching I was competing in the 70s in the United States in karate. And I've been doing it since 1960. So it's been a long time.
It's a long journey.
Long journey, yes.
So, and what's the kind of martial arts you teach in Turkey the last 30 years, I think, 30 years?
Basically what I said before, you know, it's been Aikijitsu, Aikido, Iaido, Kenjutsu, and Chinese Kempo. Those are the arts that I focus on. Mostly, you know, when you find Aikido, even in karate, you have Kobujitsu, which is weaponry. So in every martial arts, there's some weaponry. You know, and usually the sword is usually the foundation of that weaponry that is used. So for Aikijitsu, it was the sword. For Aikido, it is also the sword. But then it's the joystick, staff, side, tonfa, you know, different weapons that you use. And then most of those that I mentioned are done in karate. So I think that the first time, it might not have been the first time, I demonstrated the sai, which is a three-pronged sword, knife, dagger, they call it. And I did that on the Huyaksha show. I demonstrated
what for
sai.
Kind of knife was this?
Well, it's three-pronged. It's a
long
one, and then two short ones that have a hook. Okay. And that's what I demonstrated with here. And I learned quite a few weapons because I had quite a few different instructors. So, and then also my friends, my peers, we all used to hang out together. We used to teach each other. We used to share things. We used to share knowledge. We show each other different things that we're doing. Yeah. So I was doing that for a long time. I mean, even when I was like a first degree black belt, there were other Nidans, Sandans, Yodans. We would all get together. They would show us stuff. We would work with them. There was a camaraderie of martial artists, people who like to share their knowledge and work together.
This was from the beginning in California. And how did you get to your martial arts journey? The first step, how was this?
Well, my first step, I was boxing. I was doing American boxing at the at the police athletic league, police department.
Polis
The
department.
police department had athletic league. They taught boxing and different types of things, you know. And I started there. And then I went in New York, in Harlem, because I'm from Harlem, New York. So the churches, they used to have afternoon centers, evening centers. They were open from 7 o'clock until 10. So during that time, you can go play basketball, you can play checkers, you can play chess, you can have dance, you can have karate, you can, you know, and that kind of thing. So there were different things, and judo classes and stuff like that. So I started with judo, and then I had karate, and I had jiu-jitsu. And those three, I practiced a lot because the instructors were very close. They were friends. So they were all teaching the class together in different nights. So it was very interesting. It's something special. I didn't understand when I was younger how special it was until I got a little older. Then I understood it was a very special time for me. And I was lucky to be in that type of situation. So after that, it was I stayed with karate. I competed in karate, and I was first in Kyokushinkai. They used to call it Kyokushinkai. Now it's Kyokushin. Took the kai off. So after Kyokushin, I went to Shotokan. It was nice. I like it. I didn't have a chance really to study. I was more into the Japanese arts than I was into like Taekwondo, Budo, Tang Sando. I was more into the Japanese
martial.
And I didn't switch. I didn't go for a switch. I didn't get into the Chinese arts until 1974. 1974 is when I got in Chinese arts. Well, there were friends of mine who were studying different kung fu arts, and I was in the Chinese Goju, which is with Ron Van Cleef. He was a film star at the time. Yes. So, and being associated with that, I had a chance to work Wing Chun. I had a chance to work a couple other different systems. And some Tai Chi, and I did yoga. I did yoga as also when I was coming. So, my whole study, I would say my hobbies were martial arts. That's what I did. Outside of that, I played basketball. I was a very good basketball player. And that was it. But it was basketball and it was martial arts. That was it. Always my martial arts. My martial arts came first.
So now the third question is, what's the difference between Aikijutsu and Aikido? Fundamental basic.
I think it's in a matter of opinion. Okay, Aikido came from Aikijutsu. Aikijutsu was the mother of Aikido.
Yeah.
The difference in that was taken was that Aikido took out a lot of the Timiwaza. So they took out the striking methods. It wasn't that many, there were some, but it wasn't as much in relationship to Aikijutsu. Aikijutsu I found to be a little more rigid in movement, a little more static in position, kind of like. I found Aikido to be a little more smoother, more fluid. It's really to be a little softer in that way. But I found them to be the same in the final outcome and what they wanted to do. As far as their development, their psychological, their mental, their spiritual development. I found it to be very different in relationship to physical development. And also the concept, the ideology of fighting. It's a little different. So I think because Yoshiba Sensei did some changes in relationship to the Aikijutsu that he was doing. Okay. And he made some changes, but I think they were very, very good. I think they were very moderate changes. He was a little before his time, and he made some very nice changes.
Well, yeah, you say in Aikido, there was Aikido was the founder of Aikido, Mori Shiba. He cuts out the atemiwaza. That's the difference.
Well, he didn't cut out all of it, but I think I would say in relationship to an atemiwaza, if we talk about 100% atemiwaza, I think he cut out at least about 60%.
60%.
I would say that. I could be wrong, but I would say like around that because in Aikijutsu, almost before you started any technique, there was atemiwaza.
The another question is, in Aikijutsu, from your telling now, the Bukiwaza is a center of the Aikijutsu. Why side and how you train the week, for example, if you have 4 training plays, 4 keikos, how many days you spend for Bukiwaza, for weapon training?
I spend if you're training 3 days a week, okay, 4 days a week, I think you should spend 50% in Bukiwaza. 50% of that, because it is very relevant to your hand techniques. And the weapon is an extension of the hand. So I think that becomes very, very important. And I think in relationship to the psychological level of the Bukiwaza, because you're dealing with a weapon, this brings on a different level of fear, especially in training. If you've been hit with a boker, you understand. You understand.
Yeah.
So it's a different psychological ideology in relationship to your approach and what you do in the learning process. I think it develops your sense of fear, takes away the fear, because I think most of the time people are scared to get hit.
Yes,
Whether it's by hand, whether it's by a weapon, they're scared to get thrown. A lot of people talk about Aikido and whatnot. A lot of people don't want to do Kimiwaza. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
You have to have a lot of heart to do a Kimiwaza. So I'm saying, in relation to that, the act of bringing it as close to combative, to be in combat, to real combat, is to be able to handle pain.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks, I'm going to do my thing and there's no pain. No, you have to practice and you have to develop your mind and your body for pain. And just like karate has a way of doing it, teaching you, also Aikido and Aikijutsu has a way of doing it. People don't tend to understand it. I don't know why, but a lot of people don't understand it. But those are ways, methods in Aikido and in Aikijutsu that are very much about that, teaching that particular psychology, teaching that physical strength, mental strength, So I think it's important.
We must face the pain.
Yes, I do. I think that's the thing that a lot of people today are scared of. They don't want it.
Yeah.
They run away from the pain. If it's about pain, they don't want to deal with it. In the old days, it's different.
Yeah.
It's different.
Well, I think the main problem today in martial arts is that's the new generation far going from pain. you don't want this.
No.
And some of them want this too much. Like MMA guys.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, when you talk about MMA and this type of thing,
Yeah.
this is just a money sport. You know,
Yeah.
it's just about money.
Yeah.
It's not about true essence of martial arts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
And but in dealing with the pain factor, you know, the training. The training is the pain factor. You know, it's not about somebody beating you up, hitting you, or something like that. Yeah, you do get that's also in karate. Yes, definitely. You know, but you know, you're able to in aikido and stuff like that. You can get thrown 20 times. You have to get back up every single time.
Yes.
You know.
And what's the personal gains for a person? He join and make martial arts. What's his gain?
I don't understand.
Yeah. What kind of personal gains are hidden in martial arts? What's built inside you, martial arts? What gives you?
Well, I mean, you are supposed to, hopefully, people go into martial arts,
Yeah.
and you always go into it from a physical level, not from a mental or spiritual level. Okay.
The first step.
Yeah, you know, the first step, when you go into martial art, you should think about that first. Developing of my mental attitude, you know, my self-confidence, my etiquette, my manners, my communication. These are all things that you learn in the dojo, you know. It's important to be able to empathize with another person. It's important to have compassion, you know, because a person is giving their body to you. In Aikido, this is very much so. More than anything, any other art, for me. You say to a person, here, do what you want, and I trust you not to hurt me. So if you have this mental attitude that you want to hurt somebody all the time, then this creates a bad image. It creates a bad mental stabilization within the dojo. It's not good, you know? And you're supposed to be able to go in Aikido. You're supposed to work to a level where you can go full out, full power, without hurting your uki. So, yeah. And also you're supposed to be able to do that with your bukai as well. You know, and when you're doing certain kihons or you're doing certain kumatachis, you know, you're supposed to learn how to take it as close to reality as possible, as real as possible. There should be no second thoughts, second guessing, or slowly doing it. If I have to work with you and I have to consider hurting you, or, you know, oh, I might hurt you and this, I have to baby you, then you're not at that level. We should not be working together, you know? So you work at an even level where you're learning in the process and whatnot. As you start to advance, there's no more holding back. So let's say that you learn a kumatachi with the bokens, you know, one mistake, you're getting hit upside the head. You can get hit in your eye. You can get hit on your finger. You can get hit on your wrist. You know, and that constitutes a real cut. And that is real painful.
Yeah, it's very funny.
It's very painful. So, I mean, that's what you look for. I mean, even in your karate, you're looking to take it to the highest level as possible. But also your partner must be of that level as well. So your bokuwazas, your kumatachis, everything has to be done for real. Because at the end of the day, you have to go and defend yourself in the street. It's self-defense.
Yeah. That's right.
And people think that, you know, oh, self-defense is something different. There's not much difference about self-defense and doing karate, sports self-defense. The only thing different is the mindset.
So, what's the situation Budo arts in the world? the perspective of if you talk about MMA by side, and what's the
I mean, to me, I mean, MMA is like, okay, this is street fighting.
it's sweet like yeah.
I know the guys, I know you do your jiu-jitsu, you do your groundwork, when you're doing some hand techniques, you're doing some boxing, you're trying to learn your hands and your elbows. For me, the only real kickboxing is Thai, Muay Thai.
Right.
Muay Thai to me is for real. I studied for a year because I lived in Amsterdam for a year. So I studied Muay Thai while I was there. It's serious. It's very serious, The other martial arts, everything is getting commercial. Too commercial. It's like you have to entertain a student. Entertain them, keep them from losing their focus, make them concentrated, So for me, that's not the dojo. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm not an entertainer. Okay? I mean, a teacher has to have different special qualities and creating good moments in class, good communication, laugh at things, have some fun, but then also be very serious. So for me today, it's ridiculously, everybody feels that they have to do some spectacular something. Everything has to be done like you're in a circus. What is that? I don't understand it. So for me, it's like, and you think that because you fight in the ring and y'all scrapple and go on the ground with each other and all that kind of stuff, I'm 71 years old. Okay. I was fighting all my life in the streets. I never got taken to the ground. That's the last place you want to be, on the ground, wrestling with a person. Because if anyone else interferes, you have a big problem. So, not to say the techniques, some of the techniques, jiu-jitsu techniques are legit. I can say that. They're good. Because that aikido, aikijitsu, jiu-jitsu was one of the first forms of martial arts. So remember where it came from. You know what I mean? Yeah. I remember where it came from. Okay? And they did have some floor techniques. And even aikido has ground techniques. Aikijitsu has ground techniques. But we don't purposely want to take a person to the ground. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, I don't. I don't like going to the ground. I don't like wrestling. I don't like you getting your hands on me and strong arming me. No, that's not my thing. So, a good punch to your nose and your eye and your face, for me, stops all of that. Grabbing, And when I was in junior high school, you always get into fights. And I used to have guys come and tell me, you can't use your karate. Don't use your karate. Okay? So I said, okay. No problem. Because we box. I know how to box. I know how to use my hands. But I always know that when you're good with your hands, people want to grab you and take you to the ground. That was a given fact. If you're really good with your hands, the first thing they want to do is grab you because they want to stop you. You know what I'm saying? But like today, people say like, oh, I find it interesting. They talk about Aikido a lot. Oh, it's not a self-defense. It's not real. It's not this, this and that. And another thing they do is very disrespectful. Oh, this art is better than this art. This art is not a good self-defense. They don't do this. This is, Martial arts is martial arts. Martial arts works. But it only works with the person who is using it. It is not the martial artist. It's not the martial arts, I should say. It is the martial artist. It's the person who is doing it. That's whether that art is going to be good or not. Martial arts doesn't make you good. It teaches you it's art. For you to be good, you have to train.
Yeah.
There are people training in Korea 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day. You have part-time martial artists here. They come to classes an hour and a half, 2 or 3 times a week, maybe 2 times a week. They think they're doing something. Then you go up against a person who's practicing 8 hours a day. That's a different story.
Yeah. But one is that if you have 2 or more opponents in a situation, how we can take him down and deal with 3 or more people?
You can. Well, using the MMA concept, you can.
It's only for one opponent.
This is the one thing why I really stayed with Aikido and Aikido, because it shows you how to deal with 3 or 4 opponents at a time, even 8 to 10 opponents at a time. I've done it, I've been there, and it worked for me. Okay? To say that it's going to work for everybody, I can't say that. You know what I mean? It's how you train. It's like a lot of people in Aikido, they quit Aikido because they felt like they couldn't do it as a self-defense. That's not the case. The case is your teacher did not show you how to use Aikido in a self-defense way. A lot of people don't understand the training of Aikido. You understand what I'm saying? So they don't understand that it takes body movement. You have to deal with distance factor. You know, you have to perceive and you have to anticipate your opponent's movements. You know, and you have to be able to do things very quickly. And the self-confidence, for me, I find that Aikido is one of the most sophisticated arts ever. It's very sophisticated. And it's a little bit too sophisticated for a lot of people. If you want to punch and kick, and that's all you like to do, and you feel that you're going to be very secure with that kind of situation, then Aikido is not for you. Okay? And also, if you want to get your martial arts and you want to be able to fight, let's say, self-defense, whatever you want to call it, this is any martial arts. You know, karate, Wing Chun, you know, Rusao, anything that's, it takes time.
I think that's the main problem.
It takes time.
And everybody wants
They want it today.
Yeah, today.
You know what I'm saying? No, it takes time. Before you can go out here in the street and deal with the fear factor of being scared to death because you don't know whether you're going to live or die. That takes at least 2 or 3 years. And I'm just being nice when I say that. Because people think that you have to train physically for this. It's not about your physical attributes of this. It helps, but what's most important is this.
And what think about Aikikai and EIS? What's the situation now in the world about Aikido? Why they have separated 2 different?
Well, Aikido has separated in many divisions because of the ideology of Aikikai with the founder. His ideology with the new guys, not new guys, but guys like ninth dans and eighth dans that are coming out. His son, his grandson, you know, things changed and other teachers left, you know. So you have New York, California, Mexico. You have these different fractions. One of IAF, other different ones, you know. I went to it was Las Vegas. There were a lot of high-ranking dons there. But they all came together. They worked together. It was beautiful.
Oh.
It was like about 500 people there, 800 people. It was a 3-day seminar. It was insane. It was fabulous, you know? And the teachers were very good, but they had teachers of all different levels, 6, 7, 8, 10. The head of Daitoru, he was there himself.
Oh.
And the thing about it is that they broke off and they have these different fractions of the aikido. Some of them started having competitions in aikido, which was a no-no with the founder. Okay, that was a no-no. But they're doing it, you know. And then you have these other different fractions. I mean, they're doing their thing, you know. What can you say? And some of them are very, very good. What I see today is going on is that they're doing certain things that make other martial arts question the validity of Aikido. Can it work? Is it good? Because they don't understand it. I mean, we do things in Aikido the way people do in boxing. How they train, they jump rope, speed bag, heavy bag, you know, they run, they do any other things, okay? They don't understand in Aikido, we have certain things also that we do to develop body movement, foot movement, and this kind of thing like that. So, and when people do certain techniques, people look at it and you say, oh, wow, that can't be done in real time, in real life, in a situation. Okay? Which is like that some of it is not meant to be done in real time. It's for your development. You understand?
Yeah.
It's about developing your confidence, your movement, your timing, your rhythm. It's about that's how we train. That.
Yeah.
You see, and they look at it and it's not the way they train because they don't know it. So everybody's, oh, it's not this, but the thing which makes me laugh. Every time I see these people, Russia, all the different styles doing self-defense, does Aikido.
Yeah. I see that.
Okay. You don't see a self-defense class where they're not doing Aikido techniques.
Without Aikido.
But Aikido doesn't work. But you're doing it as self-defense. Okay? So, you know, I don't like these young people coming up talking about, you know, who's better, this is better, that doesn't work, this works, and whatnot. How long you been doing martial arts? How long you been in martial arts? Understand what I'm saying? 10 years, 12 years? Oh, really? So now you know. You know what I mean? So it comes like people run their mouths. They talk too much.
Yeah, just talk
Too much. So people say, yeah.
And one other question is, what's the popularity in Turkey? Budo arts, like Aikido, Aikijutsu, Karate. How is the popularity?
Well, when I first came here, I mean, one of the few persons that helped me when I first came here was Hakan Alpai Sensei. I mean, he's been a brother to me since I've been here. Okay? He was very helpful. I taught at his school, you know, in Sicily. You know, he's been a good friend and really had my back, you know, and helped me in many ways, you know, other than martial arts. But it's like when I came here, the martial arts concept of etiquette and manners and hygiene. It was like non-existent. Okay. So, and a lot of people would come to me and tell me. And I went. I like to go and visit schools. And I wasn't impressed. It was embarrassing. It was very embarrassing. And I mean, it's just that you had a certain mentality with the karate. So they created a certain image in Turkey. You know what I mean? And they thought that karate was very low class and that kind of thing like that. And they just thought, they think that martial artists are low class people, uneducated. And this is what people thought. I believe that I had a great deal to do with changing that image when I came here. And it's only going to change by the teachers.
By the teachers.
It's not going to change. It's not going to change by students, but the teachers don't have their act together. There's too much pettiness. There's not enough openness. There's not enough sharing. You know, everybody is like, they're so concerned about holding on to their students, and if they're going to lose their students, and you know what I mean? They're scared about losing. It's like in a relationship. If your girlfriend was going to go with another guy, she was never your girlfriend. You understand what I'm saying? So if your student was there and there's something you're not doing right, of course they're going to go wherever they feel is right for them. You know what I mean? So I think like it's like there has been some changes, but that hasn't changed in a long time. It hasn't changed in a long time. Too much petty, too much talking about people. You know, it's not. It doesn't show a good martial arts mentality, because martial arts is about your dignity, honor, you know, your word, and standing up as a man and a woman, you know, your compassion, your empathy, your thirst to learn, you know, and but everybody wants to, like, I don't know, they hold on to things and don't want to. They put students together when it comes to making money. So, I don't know.
And what's the profile and number of your students in Turkey as martial arts? What kind of people come and join martial arts in Turkey? Is there any separation here of types?
In relationship to me, my students were corporate managers, teachers, professors, students of universities, college, you know, some younger. You know. So it's people that had their own companies. These are the type of people I was teaching. You know, today, and also in the past, people don't want to work hard. They thought it was something they could get very quickly. You know, I learn it and I can do it, kind of thing like that. So I always explain that to my students. Because the first thing that's going to happen, I'm going to teach you your way. You're going to go out in the street. You're going to get beat up. And you're going to come back and say, Teddy Wilson doesn't know how to teach. He doesn't know martial arts. He can't teach. He's terrible. It's horrible. You won't say it was my responsibility, my fault, that I got my butt kicked. You're not going to say that. You're going to blame somebody. You know, the first thing you're going to do is blame. So therefore, with my students, I'm very hard on my students. And people don't want to come and practice. They don't want to train. You know, they want to come when they feel like it. You know, like it's a club. I'm gonna go and train today. Oh, I'm doing martial arts. You know. And when I started to find out that it's deeper than what they anticipated, then they're like, oh, I can't. Oh, no, they can't do it.
They give up.
They give up. And that's the thing which shows about their character. So you were already in the wrong martial art. You shouldn't be in martial art. If you have a weak character, in which many people go into martial art because they have a weak character, and many stay in it because they have a weak character, because they feel big. You know what I'm saying? So if you cannot understand that it's about your self-development first,
Yeah.
for here as well as your heart, you should go study something else.
Yeah. Last question is your advice for the fresh beginner in Budo. What's your advice?
Well, I think when you first come into your martial arts, you go into whatever you want to do, you know, we have a saying, you should come with an empty cup. Meaning that your mind should be empty. Don't anticipate anything, you know, don't try to, well, it's going to be like that, it's going to be like, oh, it should be like this, it should be like that. Because with this, I have people come and tell me, you know, how they want to train. I want this, I want this, I want you to. Excuse me? What do you want? There's no want. You don't get no want here. Okay? The dojo is not a democracy. You come in the dojo, you do exactly what you're told to do. If you can't do that, you should leave. It's just that simple. Don't come in with any thoughts about I'm going to be this or how soon can I get my black belt? I'm going to have my black belt. You know, I'll get my black belt in a year. Oh, wow. No, I'm sorry. No, you're not. You know, it might take you 5 years to get a black belt. And then before you go to Shodan or you're a Shodan Ho, which is a beginner black belt, and you go to the Shodan and Nidan and Sandan, it might take 10 or 12 years. You know what I'm saying? So you come with an empty mind and grow from there. As long as you keep your mind open, you will learn. You know? If you come there with demands, I want this, I want to be here, I want to do this and that, no, it's not going to happen. So when you go, you should research, understand what I'm going to do. Shotokan, what is it? I'm going to do Kyokushinkai, what is it? I'm going to do Chang Sung Do, Budo Kwan. Okay, what is it? I'm going to do Aikido, Judo. You know, what do you go research? And with the kids, the parents don't know anything. So how do you have your children go into a martial arts class, karate or whatever it is, and you know nothing about it? You don't know what it gives your child, what it does for your child, you know? And then, and this happened to me many times, you change the child, they change in school, they're better at school, they're more self-confident, and then you take them out of class and put them into soccer, or horseback riding, or whatever. You know, so it's all this entertainment mentality. You know, so you should know what you're getting into and what for.
Yeah.
You know, when I started my martial arts class, it was because I was so excited. It looked so fantastic. It looked very sophisticated, very elegant. You know, and I was like, oh man, and plus you could kick butt. you know, to fight, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like 10, 11 years old, you know what I mean? And that's what affected me. But then gradually, as I started to learn, I understood like, oh, this is something very much different than what I thought it was. So in time, I changed and I got my butt kicked a lot from my teacher, from my peers, you know. I was on my college teams. I was the captain of my college team in karate. You know what I'm saying? You know, it was a transition and I stayed with it because something told me this is good for you as a person. And it's going to make you who you are. And one thing I didn't want to be was weak. That was very important to me. I'm not going to be weak. I seen what happens to weak people. I'm not going to be weak. But I'm not going to be a bully. I'm not going to be walking around like this. I just want to be confident that I can handle a situation whenever it was necessary. That's what I want to become. And I wanted to be a good guy. I just want to be a cool guy. You know, that's what it is.
No, the personal questions. I have a personal question about Aikido. Because you have studied Zen and Japanese culture by side and philosophy. Do you see any points in Aikido? Is there any religious points in Aikido from Mori Ueshiba? You know, here he was very, very religious one. And he had development Aikido on the ground of his beliefs, what we have read about him. And what you think about this? Can you see something inside?
No, well, it's there.
Is there?
It's there. It's there in relationship to the mental and psychological training of Aikido, and it does have a spiritual essence as well. So when you say spiritual, when I say spiritual, I mean it's to develop your mind and body as one, you know? And there are other things that are of a little higher level. I wouldn't call it religious, because he was in Shinto Buddhism, which that's what I was. And that was something else. But he didn't try to overload. He didn't overdo that situation of pressing, going over the line, pressing the religious particular aspects of Shinto Buddhism into his Aikido. I think he was very mild at it, very softly done. You know what I mean? But from the psychological and spiritual trainings, that it carried on into those areas. And I think that's very, very important. I think, yes, he had that, but it was very mild. I don't think it was, I've read quite a few of his things. I have a library of his books and stuff like that. So, I wouldn't say that it was, I would say it would be more informative and very helpful in students' life and the way that they looked at Aikido. But other than that, I would say I never felt pressured. You know what I mean? And I don't think that was done in Aikido. I don't think it was done. But the thing about it in Aikido today is we need it. We definitely need it. It's very important because people are losing that, you know? And everything is turning into fighting. It's about fight. Fight what? What are you fighting? The whole idea was to develop yourself to be ready, okay, to be prepared to do something to defend yourself. But it wasn't about this fighting thing all the time. Even Kung Fu, even Karate. It wasn't about that fighting thing all the time. You know what I mean? Now it's like they gauge everything on fighting. You don't even know anything about the martial arts, and you're always talking about fighting. Only because it's about money. You have Aikido things, the thing that Aikido schools are doing now. They're investing more into young kids, young people, like 5 years old, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. Okay. What's happening with Aikido? If you have 10 students that are that age, 10 years old, how many of those students you think are going to be there when they're 21 or 30 or 25 or 27? So what happens is, if you don't have older people who understand the levels and the teachings of Aikido, then the blood is going to die out. It's going to be non-existent. Because people, and you know, in the dojo anyway, in any dojo, out of 30 people, you might have, you're lucky if you have 6 that go to black belt. I was lucky. I had 20 something like that. Okay? But they were dedicated, they were serious, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But for myself, I let them learn the ideologies. I always talked about certain books that they should have. I always told them they should have a library. They should have a video library. They should have a book library. They should read. They should look at things, watch other teachers, and this kind of thing like that. So they can be more open-minded. That becomes very, very important. So in doing so, then I never pushed the religious. I never pushed people into Shinto Buddhism. Not at all. But in some ways, it goes into martial arts because martial arts is coming with that. It's part of it, you know? So, but so much has changed today. It's not as special as it was because everybody wants it to be so synthetic. It's not true. It's not real. You know? Unless you jump around acting like a clown. You understand what I'm saying? And I think, like, you know, they try to do, like, there's a couple of guys that I like what they're doing, but I still find it to be of a circus mentality. You're doing all kinds of this and that and whatever. But where's the real Aikido? You're trying to entertain people. And they go, oh, wow, oh, great, this is so nice. No. But at the end of the day, no, that does not work. You know?
See it.
So,
Thank you for the interview.